Roll.
Welcome to another Spot On Chat. I'm Rebecca Monet with Zorakle Profiles. Zorakle provides profiling tools for franchisors and franchise consultants that helps facilitate a right fit between a prospective franchisee and a franchise concept. My guest today is Sean Hart. He's the VP of Franchise Sales and Development at American Family Care. Sean is recognized by executive management and his colleagues for building collaborative relationships, revitalizing underperforming markets, developing a strong sales force, and being both strategic and performance driven. Welcome back, Sean.
Thank you so much for having me.
So in one of our earlier conversations, and we talked about you not being a sports fan, which I found kind of surprising because you went to Auburn University. And if you haven't listened to that interview, you want to check out Sean's earlier interview. But you went to Auburn. You're not a sports fan, but you are a fan of Auburn. Is that?
I'm a huge fan. I'm a diehard fan. I'm an alumni member. I have done everything I can to support the university. I went to every football game that they had when I was there. I couldn't tell you a single score of a single game that I ever saw. I know I was there though, so I never really was as tied into the sports part of it as I was to, here's irony for you. I didn't really care for the sports, but one of my friends is currently the stadium announcer for football and was then, when I was in school, the stadium announcer for baseball. I would go to the games and hang out with him, and I still don't know what the score was because it just wasn't that big of a deal. But Auburn itself was a big deal for me. I have a lot of really long-term core memories that came from being at Auburn, and my goodness, I think my entire family is based on the fact that I went to Auburn. So it's there's a lot of really they're not heartstrings, they're heart ropes. Auburn pulls around my heart. So it's a place that means a lot to me and my family.
So lots of good memories about being a student in Auburn and friends, and you also found romance, right?
So the odd thing is that I went to Auburn almost last minute. It was a whim. I had never planned to go to Auburn, and if you're from this part of the woods, you're either an Alabama or an Auburn fan. Entire Alabama fans. So I went. So when I got there, the sports aspect of it, not only was I not a sports fan to begin with, but I didn't have any history of pulling for them. So I really got to enjoy the place. I didn't, I looked at it, I think, through a different lens. I almost got invited to leave my first year there. I learned that college was a little bit more difficult than high school had been for me. Straight A's in high school and straight A's in college. At about 0.72, they start discussing whether you really think you ought to be here when that's your I did graduate with almost a 3, but I went in grad school and made straight A's. So they let me in grad school, if that tells you anything. So I actually went all the way through school and then ended up going into grad school, where I then taught speech and public speaking, and I taught small group communication. I've made lifelong friends that I probably will have forever. And the best part is I met my wife, who did my job. I helped at the office. I worked in the office where I was there in my academic department. And she took the job after I left and went to graduate school. So I think I was flirting. I don't know if I was or not. I was trying to flirt. And I think either she felt sorry for me or what, but that was in '96. Then we were back in Auburn for Y2K because the world was ending.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, we were going to die. We all didn't know what was going to happen. So they dropped a giant glass tiger, because we're the Tigers. So they jumped, the crane with the tiger. They dropped the tiger for New Year's Eve, and everybody kissed and yelled. And I waited a couple seconds just to make sure that the world wasn't going to end. And then proposed to my wife right in the consumer's corner at Y2K in 30 seconds. So we got engaged there. And to take it even further, how sick we are, we only allowed roommates that we knew from school. You either had to be a direct relative or roommate. So we had a pretty small wedding, but everybody there we had lived with at Auburn or were our direct relatives. So it was actually pretty cool.
Very cool. Boy, that's going to be a huge memory to share with your kids and then with your grandkids and your great-grandkids someday. About we watched the ball drop. I want to make sure I wasn't going to die first. And then I proposed to your mother, your grandmother. And
That's
she said
exactly what
yes.
happened. She
And she
did
said
say there.
yes.
This is true. There were so many people there that I could pick my feet up off the ground and not fall. They were so tight. It's completely different than the current days of COVID, but it may be the tightest crowd I've ever been in. And I did. I proposed. I couldn't have done much else. I couldn't have got away from her. I'm glad she said yes, because if she no, that would have been a very uncomfortable situation.
Very embarrassing. Yes, that would not have been pretty. Isn't that amazing? So I guess if people were going to die, they wanted to die together. They didn't want to
We
die
were,
alone, right?
it's crazy that Auburn is it's not the biggest school in the world, but there were, I think, 25,000 students, 23,000 undergrad students or so when I was there. And there were about 8,000, if I remember, in this 4 square block. We were all jammed in the roads. And I swear I knew half of those people there. So somehow Auburn just builds those kind of relationships. And to this day, you meet someone from Auburn and it's like we've known each other forever. So I'm sure everybody's got similar stories, but for me, I am a huge fan of Auburn University, and I'm very lucky that I got to go there. It was almost a decision I didn't make, but I'm certainly glad that I did.
You did. Your whole life went a different direction
Absolutely.
with this beautiful wife of yours. We should all be so lucky.
Two kids that scream War Eagle and all that stuff. They're actually huge sports fans. So on Saturdays, my wife and 2 kids, 3 family members watch football. And I sit on the couch and read the news on my iPad while they watch the football and just check in on how it's going. I know it's terrible, but at least I'm participating. I'm there. I'm there for them.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of a lump on a pickle, but I'm here.
I eat the chips, I eat the dips, I do all the fun stuff. I just
Right.
get who's winning.
Yeah, and grunt once in a while, let them know you're
Yeah.
there.
I yell. I know how it works.
Woo!
If they all go, oh no, then I go, oh no. And
Oh no, that's just terrible. On cue.
that's it. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing your Auburn story and your love story. It's always fascinating for me to take a look under the hood, so to speak, of an individual. And we've gotten to know each other in a professional setting, so it's kind of nice to get to know you in a personal setting too. So thank you for taking time today, and I look forward to our next Spot On Chat.
Thank you so much.